This is the Focus RS, a B-road missile we once described as having a Pac-Man-like corner-munching ability. 5 years after production ended, it's still the greatest hot hatch we've driven.
But you know, it's not perfect. This ride quality is a bit stiff on B-roads, and the diff, though, it's best to tug your arms out of its sockets. You know, if the man who signed it off was here, I'd give him a piece of my mind. Jost, what are you doing here?
Oh, I snuggled in.
Well, now you're here, why don't you have a go, and you can tell me whether you think this car's any good or not.
Okay, yeah, let me behind the wheel and I'll show you what the car is good at.
So when did you last ride one of these, Jost?
It's not too long ago, because during the development of the new RS, we're always driving this RS as well, because this is still the benchmark on certain attributes. And we have to know that we develop the new RS in line with the character and what we have on this RS.
So one of the things about this car that was criticised at the time is that certainly the ride quality is very firm, isn't it? It's good on smooth roads, but on some roads, similar surfaces to this, when you're going past, it's maybe a little bit too firm. Is that something you would agree with, or?
No, I fully agree to that, yeah, and it got criticised especially for British B roads. So this is why we did a lot of development and testing and setup also on British B roads. Yeah, we've been in Wales to do the setup of the car, work on the setup. We've driven around Essex, and this work is also still going on.
Yeah.
So that's where we have a high priority, because the major customers, or the majority of the customers, are in the UK, and we have to have a car that is absolutely perfect for UK customers. I think the Focus RS is very unique. When you compare what is comparable to the RS, where you see it's really like a white space. There is nobody else in this segment, and if we can do proper car that has a justification in that segment for the value for money you get for the car, I think this car was fantastic value for money.
Yeah.
And the new RS, I'm convinced it will be even better value for money. The team of people working in Team RS are all car enthusiasts like hell. Yeah? Most of them drive fast motorbikes, so we have all of the feel of what performance means, and they've all been in other cars from other manufacturers. So we are all keen to deliver fantastic performance cars, because that's the car we have to live with as well, and we want to have a lot of fun with the cars. So all these enables us to do fantastic performance cars.
Okay, so enough with the history lesson. We've driven the old car, we've driven the benchmark. Now we want to know about the new car. This is the new Focus RS. It was launched at the motor show. It goes on sale early next year. The first thing I have to say is, wow, what an amazing colour. Is this going to be a production colour?
Yeah, we'll see. We look which kind of colour we show the car first, and we want to make a high impression.
The other thing I noticed are these vents, which will be familiar to anyone who's ever owned a Sierra 4x4. Is there a reason why these are here?
It's all for technical reasons, so I don't like really fake. And they are needed to get the heat out of the engine compartment.
Yeah.
We have a car with 300 horsepower and a lot of torque that needs a good cooling. So you need to get the air out, but also you need to get the air in, and that drove really the appearance of the front bumper. When you see the big openings here, there's all metal mesh there. Those 3 meshes are really giving the engine the cooling, and it's a much bigger cooling pack than we have on the ST, because we have to get this power on tracks with not that high speed, but using the full power. So the car should be capable of doing that.
Okay, we know it's got 300 horsepower, but it's front-wheel drive, which is unheard of for a performance car these days. How have you managed to get those 300 horsepower to the front wheels?
If you would have asked me 2 or 3 years ago, can the RS with 300 horsepower be front-wheel drive, I would have said no. But I think now, then we did the comparison, where technology is going and what we're available to do. We really choose the front-wheel drive over the four-wheel drive, because it's a much more exciting and much nicer performing car. So when you see the track is wider, then you see the new fenders, the wider fenders. We've got bigger brake. and also a complete new design front suspension. It's a mechanical differential with a mechanical suspension, and putting those systems together, they work that well together that you don't need really an electronical input to reduce any torque.
So with all that power and this suspension technology, presumably it's a bit quicker around a circuit like the Nürburgring.
Yeah, it's much quicker. You see, the Focus ST is already quicker than the former Focus RS. And now with that car, it's so much quicker around the Nordschleife like the Focus ST because of the suspension and the adding from 225 to 300 horsepower and from 320 Newton meter to 440 Newton meter. These are such big steps. It should be about nearly half a minute faster than the old RS, and this is a huge difference. This is a really serious fast car around the Nordschleife.
Now there'll be no mistaking an RS when you come up behind one of the traffic lights.
From the rear, what we have done, it's also technology driven and performance driven. You see, for example, the diffuser, that's part of the completely new rear bumper. And you also see when you come up from the back to the car, you see the exhaust pipes with 100 millimeter diameter. And this is part of the complete new exhaust system to get a more free flow system than the ST has to really get the 300 horsepower out of the engine. And combined with the aerodynamic package through the diffuser and the rear bumper, the rear wing is quite important. Through the big splitter we have in the front of the car, in the front bumper, we get quite a good downforce in the front, and we had to rebalance the car aerodynamically.
I've just jumped into this car and instantly it's answered one of my criticisms of the old car, which is the seat position was all wrong. The old car you seem to sit really high, in this car you sit much lower, much sportier driving position.
I think that's, again, with the new Focus is different to the old Focus, so we've got different opportunities. And what we did, this seat is not based on the base forward seat. So this is a complete Recaro seat with an adaptation. So we had much more freedom, and we could do the seat position we really think is right to the steering wheel. We didn't change the base steering wheel because we think the ST steering wheel is absolutely fantastic and it had nothing to do with it even better. So the main things are really the driver's position with the seat, having the steering wheel, the pedals, and everything in hand to really operate the car in a very sporty way.
Thanks for showing us around the car, Jost.
You're welcome, Chris. It was a great pleasure for me.
The most important question is, though, when are we going to drive it?
I promise you will be one of the first to get their hands on the wheel.
Not for a while, then, it sounds. But if you want to read all about the new Focus RS, you need to get your hands on the September 2008 issue of Car Magazine.